Hello. It's been quite a while.
Who are these people?
A lot has happened. I lost my Twitter account. I got it back. Richard isn't on Twitter anymore. That's been for like a year now,
Oh,
even more probably.
longer than that. I think about 2.5 years now. Yeah.
2.5. Jesus. But we're back. Croatia just lost to Belgium literally 2 seconds ago. I had to rework my graphic. We would have started 5 minutes early, but I guess we're gonna cut short this episode a little bit. But that doesn't matter. I doubt you watched the game because I doubt Croatia and Belgium are interesting to Scotland.
Um, I mean, I don't think you're not in our group, so we're not likely to end up facing you at any point. Any point we could possibly face Croatia or Belgium would be after we've been knocked out.
Well, we're not in the same Nations League group anymore,
No.
so that's out of the question again. But you never know. I predict Brazil to have a bad tournament. Actually, I do not trust them.
Yeah, but they won't have any problems with us.
Well, this you have McTominay.
We do. I mean, we can very quickly talk Scotland in terms because we had the friendly against Curacao on Saturday, and
Yeah,
until Curacao went down to 10 men, they were the better side.
yeah. I also saw the Chong goal, but
Yeah,
I also saw every Scottish like fan page just being like, guys, if we can't play against 11 men Curacao, how are we gonna do against Brazil and Morocco
or Haiti.
or Haiti? But yeah, it's gonna be quite a cultural shock, I think, for all the Scotsmen in the U.S. this year with the temperatures and the humidity.
I mean, last week it was about 35 degrees everywhere, so
Yeah,
it's not too bad. But I mean, it will be. Yeah, I don't think the US quite knows what's coming for it really, in terms of sheer money grabbing, from one perspective, and just in terms of the Scottish fan base who haven't been anywhere for 28 years coming over and you know drinking like we do.
oh yeah. You know what the U.S. what Trump should do? Do you know about the 10-cent beer night in the MLB that
Yeah,
happened a long time ago? They should just do that to compensate for the expensive tickets. Give us like a 50-cent beer,
I think it
everybody,
might be $10 beer night. Might be
and
right.
that would still be cheap.
It would be, yes.
That would still be cheap, but we're not here for that. Croatia just played a friendly against Belgium. We lost 2-0. Uh, I mean, not a lot chance wise. Modric had a good shot in the first half, which Courtois brilliantly saved. Musa had a shot that went over the bar, not a good one attempt, and Budimir hit the bar, and Marco Pasalic almost scored and the same exact goal he always scored at Druevica. Cuts in, shoots from 30 meters, almost went in.
That plays
But
psycho.
not quick cycle. But Belgium, I mean, first goal, Schutel made a mistake. If you didn't see the goal, Doku crosses in a low cross, and Schutel is is on the wrong foot, so can't really get a good touch on it. Goes back and goes into the middle of the box. The element's just 5 meters outside the box. He's not gonna miss. And the second goal was Nicola Moro giving up the ball like 2 seconds before half full time, and then a ball over the top to Lukaku, who scored against Croatia after missing everything under the sun against us in Qatar.
Yeah. Being it's a friendly, it's fine to do that then. And I think obviously, from a lineup perspective, I think probably the experiment. I mean, I don't really know whether we can still
Yeah,
class them as an experiment. I think obviously we can't expect them to start with three at the back against England, just because I think there's in Dalic's head, that having three at the back is the way for Croatia to deal against opponents who are going to attack them heavily with pace.
yeah,
But I mean, I think the experiment was the back line, in terms of this is the first time really we've been able to have Vuskovic and Guardiola fit at the same
together.
time.
Yeah, and in
and
the starting lineup.
yeah, and where they fit together in a three, and the answer is yeah.
It was Vuskovic had a few okay moments. Guardiola also. It was just mid. Like Belgium didn't really attack us for Vuskovic and Guardiola to show off if they were capable. It was just like both teams just had three chances max, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Belgium
it's
scored theirs, we didn't.
it's a postseason friendly. No one
Yeah,
wants to get injured.
yeah. It was really like except Baturina and Perisic, which I mean he just is 100% every game, no matter against who he plays. But Kovacic also impressed me with a few good touches, dropped deep when Guardiola went up. Guardiola has a lot of freedom on the left side as that. I mean, overlapping center back. But Kovacic drops into his position, something like Krovinovic at Hajduk under Dambrauskas and Leko, I think. But it's I mean, Dalic did say we're gonna play a free at the back against England. That's how we're preparing, and that's why we're gonna be playing probably against Slovenia as well, free at the
Mm.
back. But it's I think it's probably the best considering how many center backs we have other than Šutalo, Vušković, Guardiola, and Stanisic, who can also play as a center back. You have Jakic, who can probably play as a center back. He did play in the second half against Belgium, but I would probably rather see him on the wing back position since we have Erlic, Čaletica, and Pongracic. So we have seven center backs
Yeah,
essentially.
there's. I mean, I think so we're going to talk about the World Cup more next time.
Yeah,
Um, if there was criticisms of the squad that's been picked, it's definitely there's one too many centre backs,
yeah,
there's one too many centre midfielders, and there should be more wide options. Now, I think perhaps at the back, it's harder to argue as to who those options should be because had you had Juranovic coming in on a season where he had played much from a fitness perspective, and
yeah.
also sort of from reading what Union Berlin fans have said, when he has been fit, he's not really been any good.
No,
Um,
I mean Union Berlin just had a mess season.
yeah, but I mean, if you sort of have that an option that can play on both flanks that he offered,
Yeah,
then I think it would feel a much more balanced squad to me. But yeah,
yeah. Just to let you know, the last 30 minutes of this game against Belgium, Lukas Sucic played as the left wing back.
as he does.
So I mean, thankfully, these last 30-40 minutes were just a lineup that I hope will never play together again, especially at the upcoming World Cup. But I was also surprised to see Modric, Kovacic, and Petar Sucic in the same lineup, and
Yeah,
Petar Sucic being forward. But Sucic did a good job defensively. He did a lot of running to cover for Modric and Kovacic, who still recovering from their injuries, trying to not really going at 100%. But Sucic, he was going at 100%, but sadly, just his attacking capabilities are not that because he's there to be next to Kovacic or Modric, whoever starts alongside him. He's not to be in front of them,
yeah,
especially when we have Vlasic, Mario Pasalic, Luka Sucic. There's no need for him to be there, but it's a friendly, so I guess we can try it out.
yeah. I mean, I suppose there's another friendly to go. Presumably against Slovenia, we won't see Modric start. Probably will see Kovacic start just because he needs the games. We
Yeah,
might see Vardyl start again because he needs the games, but then we might see probably who lines up next to him in defence. If there's a three again, might be the question. Um, because obviously Jetka is sort of there as an option because he can only really play the middle of a three.
yeah,
We've seen him play in a four, and he can't do it.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just feel Chaltazar as a replacement for Vushkovic, or just if Vushkovic isn't deemed good enough by Dalis to start a game, then you start Chaltazar. But Šutalo and Stanisic. I mean, just our right side was really bad today. But then again, they did have to face Jeremy Doku for most of the game.
Mhm.
So not the easiest task if you're gonna face a left winger in today's football.
But it's a pretty similar one to what they faced against England.
Yeah, true. But they Belgium didn't start Lukaku, so we didn't have somewhat of a similar test to what Harry Kane is gonna be.
Mm.
But we'll see. But it was just a mid game. Like the only positives I can draw out are Baturina, Perisic, Kovacic, Pušković a little bit here and there, and Livakovic didn't have much to do, and that's pretty much it. And Marko Pasalic, I mean, the only bright spot that came on after, and Luka Sucic.
Mhm.
So they both did a good job on those as wingbacks. Even though Sucic, I hope never to see on wingback again because I'm scared for defensively what that's gonna do. But yeah, overall, we're just gonna speak more about Croatia next week ahead of the World Cup, and we're obviously gonna have more context after the Slovenia game. But overall, how do you feel about the announcement, the World Cup list, the 26-man squad,
Um, I mean, like I said, I think I felt it's not balanced quite right in terms of the centre backs. I
and
think
Nicola
there's
Mora?
yeah. I think I wasn't entirely sure in terms of who you would drop out of that sort of midfield. I think Morrow is an obvious one to drop out of that midfield, not necessarily on a qualitative basis, but I
No,
think if you've got Petr Sucic there, then why do you need Morrow? I think also there's too many attacking mids.
yeah, like
And
there's no wide options. It's just
yeah,
we're just filled everywhere but wide. Like
yeah,
our only wide options are Stanisic, Jakic, who's not really a wide player, Perisic, and Marko Pasalic, and
yeah.
that's it.
I'd have liked to have seen Sekic.
Yeah,
He ended the season absolutely on fire.
yeah,
And I think, just from a form perspective, you probably want to see if you can ride that out going forward into it. I think that would have been the one, just dropping a midfielder for him. Yeah, it just gives you the extra wide option. It makes playing four at the back easier as well.
yeah,
If you have multiple proper wide options, there's nothing you can really do up front. I absolutely understand why people want Bellew to be called up,
yeah,
and I don't disagree. But also, it's much of a muchness. He's not proven himself at that level. Yes, he's coming off a very good season, but he's not proven at that level.
yeah,
And what has Musa or Matanovic done to deserve not being part of that squad
yeah,
overall?
and Budimir
Yeah.
especially. I mean, I forgot how many goals. I think 19 goals this season for Sasuna, which La Liga, 19 goals in La Liga, pretty
Yeah.
good job. Matanovic did very well for Freiburg, and Musa has been on fire since the new MLS season started. So, and again, there's no need for four strikers, but same as there's no need for Nikola Moro when we have Mario Pasalic, who can also play as a DM if needed,
Mhm.
Modric, Kovacic, and Petar Sucic. That's, if Nikola Moro comes on, it's not gonna be for any good tactical reason.
Yeah, unless there's absolutely a need to just completely shut up shop.
Yeah, and we need like four defensive midfielders.
Yeah, but
Uh, but same thing for the six center back. Well, seven. Oh my god. But yeah, the seven center backs we essentially have in this country. Well, that was loud.
yeah, that was because we've not got furnishings really in this room yet. We've got a desk and that's about it. But
Oh, it's just the
but we do
desk.
have a coaster, so you've got to respect the wood,
Yeah, gotta respect the wood.
but it doesn't respect.
Yeah.
It doesn't respect sound. Um,
But yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for Šegesic and Stojkovic in a way because he could play wide, but I would rather see Šegesic because I do deem his form in the championship to be better than what Stojkovic has had in the HNL.
I'd have been happy with either.
Yeah, same.
But I
I would
think
have I would have rather seen one of them than Moro or I don't know Pongracic.
yeah, I think having Sekic gives you an extra option on the right, um, whereas there's already multiple options on the left because obviously Perisic, but
Yeah,
obviously Fruit can play there as well. So yeah, for Stojkovic, again, it's a little bit congested unless you are, like I say, of the opinion that he is qualitatively at this point better than one of the other players that's been picked, which I don't quite think you can.
yeah. There's probably an argument you could make that he maybe should have been called instead of Fruk because Fruk, I mean, he was okay this season, but I do deem Stojkovic was better this season than Fruk. But then again, we're talking about Rijeka who finished fourth and Dinamo who swept the league.
Yeah,
But I mean, then again, Fruk or Stojkovic, if he was called up, they would probably play two games off the bench, like 20 minutes max.
yeah, and I think with Fruit, you sort of have to bear in mind, particularly for the second half of the season, he's been carrying a bit of an injury
Bit of an injury,
and
yeah.
managing things. So uh, ultimately, from a Dalic's perspective, he's been focused on people who've been playing,
Yeah,
and Fruit has done something other players haven't done, which is actually really he's given up one season of getting paid a lot more in a bigger league to maybe play 20 games, to get in the Conference League, to play every week at Rijeka and to keep himself in that reckoning. And that's sort of loyalty and commitment that you want to see. That's why he's there and
yeah,
Meyer isn't, for example.
yeah. Meyer absolutely just wasn't in favor at Wolfsburg at all at the end of this in the second half of the season. Like did very well against Brazil. Obviously scored a goal, but overall was okay in that short time he played. But after that, I don't think he made like more than 3 or 4 appearances for Wolfsburg, and that was off the bench, not even in the lineup. And he wasn't even in the squad for the relegation playoffs, which
No, yeah.
Wolfsburg lost. So right now, Ajax and Leipzig are said to be interested in Meyer, which I mean I'm fine with Ajax. I think he would do better in the Netherlands than in Leipzig because I don't think he would be a starter at Leipzig.
Yeah, I think he would have just done better moving in January.
Yeah,
I think
but
Dalic sort of made clear, I think it was the November uh, break, that was picked as a squad, and Meyer wasn't included in it, but he
yeah,
was picked as a squad based on who was playing, and you know, at that point, if you're excluded from the squad, you should be on to your agent saying, "Look, we need to sort
get
out
out.
something
Let's get out.
pretty quickly."
Yeah,
And no, I'm not saying that he didn't, but it obviously didn't work.
yeah, no. But sadly, because he was the number 10 at Wolfsburg for a long time. But yeah, let's talk about our number 10, Modric. Milan, what a disaster of an end of an end to this to a season. It's I thought Hajduk was bad at bottling, but that was Jesus Christ. From being second, like almost comfortably second, to finishing outside the Champions League spots in the Serie A, and now Modric is most likely not gonna stay. And he has two choices: it's either continue with AC Milan and play Europa League football, or call it quits after the World Cup.
Yeah, I think, and this is the thing. I mean, until maybe 10 days ago, I don't think anyone really seriously thought Modric would retire at the end of the World Cup.
Yeah, yeah,
But now it's sort of been presented as, well, okay, maybe you could go back to Real Madrid, but we don't really want you to play. We just want you to be there to improve the vibes, because
and
we've
bring
got rid
some
of everyone
order
senior.
and bring some order into that dressing room, which with Jose Mourinho is gonna be even. I can't even imagine how Mourinho is gonna take care of Vinny, Mbappe. I mean, just everybody at the club.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see. I think it's almost it's a disappointing end, and I think if he does retire, obviously you've almost got a counterpart in Jacko, and
Yeah,
sort of how Jacko has almost stage managed his final season. It's like because he could have gone to Wolfsburg in the winter, and they wanted to do it. He's like, no, I'm going to go to Schalke because I want to spend my last season actually providing some good memories, winning something rather than fighting against relegation. And
Yeah.
it was absolutely right to do so at Schalke. And then, obviously what happened in the playoff, which was very good and very funny. And he gets to end his career, assuming he doesn't continue on with Schalke, because I know there is a contract on the table for him if he wants it.
Yeah.
He gets to end his career at a World Cup, probably going beyond the group stage with Bosnia for the first time,
Yeah.
and sort of
Yeah.
rewriting the wrongs of 2014. No, yeah, you couldn't write it.
Yeah. That 24. I mean, that game against Nigeria and that goal. I need Jaco to score a goal that's given, like that's first called offside and then given by VAR, just showing that's why VAR was introduced.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, and then also Schalke just having a Bosnian manager and Nikola Katic, formerly of Hajduk Split. So a nice Bosnian legion, and Schalke has gone into the Bundesliga again. But it's a nice story. But Modric, if he retires, it's, I it's gonna be very sad because, as you said, 10 days ago, like 1 week before the end of the season, nobody was even thinking about it. And then when Milan obviously was officially out of the Champions League, the chances have just gone from like 0% to uh, probably 60,
mm-hmm.
probably
Yeah.
more in favor.
I mean, it's still an element hard to imagine it, and my sort of thought process behind it had always been, yeah, he'll probably continue next season.
Yeah,
And from a Croatia perspective, he probably will not retire straight after the World Cup, but there'll be a bye bye Luka Modric game in September, and
yeah, likely.
just completely gets his flowers, and then plays one more, and then bows out from that. I mean, I think obviously his future also ties into Dalic's as well. From Dalic's perspective, I think every indicator, it's not been necessarily that he doesn't want to carry on. It's that he doesn't have an interest in carrying on if carrying on is a complete rebuild.
Yeah,
And
and
if
he
Modric
just
is,
he
it's a
just
complete rebuild.
yeah, he said he wanted Allegri to stay. He wanted Champions League football and a team that's capable of fighting for the title in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
which Milan, unless they somehow get some magical money in their bank account, they will not be doing.
No.
But and Leao is obviously rumored to leave, so that's a very big crucial player about to leave. But we'll see. We'll obviously know more soon because I think Modric should announce soon enough because I think Milan is kind of I wouldn't say pressuring him, just they want a response as soon as possible because they probably want him to continue, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of clubs, they want their business sorted before, particularly for contract decisions like that, they want their business sorted before players go
Yeah,
to America for a month.
yeah. But I think that's enough for of Croatia, which we can talk more about, this summer in the
Mm-hmm.
next month and a half, hopefully. Uh, hopefully, we can have another deep run where we play. Well, not 7 games anymore, 8 games since round of 32. But yeah, let's go to the High which was not as entertaining as last season. Nobody was dropping points left, right, and center in the title race. Dinamo was quite comfortably first. Hajduk was quite comfortably second. And there was a bit of a fight for third place between Rijeka and Varaždin, which Varaždin in the end won, which is their highest finish in the league. And Osijek delivered one of the worst seasons ever, but saved it just in the end, as they finished right above Vukovar, who got relegated after just one season in the top flight.
Yeah, I know what prediction you wanted to talk about, so go on, get on it.
So, for those who don't remember, this guy over here, not me, he predicted Hajduk to win the title.
Which was a good prediction for the first half of the season.
As I mean, we could argue the last 3 seasons that would have been a good prediction for half a season.
I think, I mean, I think the thing with that is, sort of trying to remember what I said 9 months ago and trying to justify myself, um, is that my thought process had been, actually, sort of look at the change that had gone on at Dynamo, lots of players
Yeah,
out, lots of leadership out. You know, what was there hadn't been tested, hadn't really been battle tested in a close title race, and obviously the tests that did come last season, they didn't meet it at all. So it was very much up in the air as to just how they would cope with that. And I think for much of the autumn, even through the European campaign, it was up in the air as to how they would deal with that, as to whether Kovacic was, Kovacic was actually, good enough really to be at a Dynamo side in Europe.
yeah,
Now, he's proven he is now, and we'll probably see, the first 6 weeks of next season as to whether that holds water when you talk about Champions League qualifiers and things like that, because ultimately that's what happened. That's what did for Jurkovic,
yeah,
and we've seen what he's done this season. Dinamo haven't necessarily had the right patience in dealing with that sort of first 2 months of the season, which ultimately are vital from an income perspective,
yeah,
but not necessarily from a competitive perspective. But you can't argue with the results this season. Belgium took a little while to get going, went absolutely on fire. Most of the transfers worked,
yeah.
and and Hajduk Hajduk it.
I,
They were
I,
very good for half the season, and then the thinkable happened.
the very much thinkable thing that was very visible. I think, at least for me, I just couldn't see us holding pace for that long. I barely can, because especially after Livaya got injured. When Livaya got injured, it was, I mean, for some reason we somehow did well without Livaya, because the Garcia system worked really well, and Shego hit form for a month or two after Livaya got injured, and we looked very good. But then Shego's form fell, couple injuries here and there. Some games don't have this player because of suspensions, and you drop 5 points, and then you lose to Istra and Gorica at the start of the year, and that's 6 points you lost. And after that, it wasn't really close.
Yeah, it was never. They didn't put the pressure on Dinamo to
No,
actually win games. I think, obviously we can mention there was. I mean, looking at last season's starter race, you just don't even bother because it's just a complete anomaly.
yeah,
But if you sort of look at the Scottish title race,
oh
purely sort of from the perspective of putting Hajduk in the Hearts position, like you've got to win your games and you've got to make everyone else win theirs.
yeah,
And if you can't apply that pressure, you can't force mistakes. And that sort of thing, even at this point, do we really know how Dinamo deal under pressure? I'm not that
no,
sure we do. They managed to Europe reasonably well, but not in a way where they were always having to grind out results or anything like that. Yeah, they're a good team. They are a good team who we don't quite know everything about yet,
yeah,
and we will know everything we need to know about them. When they're meeting a good team in Champions League qualifying, they haven't had anything like that to match them this season, beyond a couple of 90 minutes where teams have been able to put pressure on them.
yeah. I mean, it's a completely new squad, and the players that didn't play, like Ljubicic and Villar, they immediately left in January, so they didn't hang about and just drop a few performances here and there. We even saw Juan Cordoba make a comeback, which interesting. The man's alive. He immediately got a goal contribution after coming on. But I mean, just to speak from Heido's perspective, I with the budget, Dinamo spent how much? Like 20 million on players last summer. Hajduk, what we brought in Rebic, and that's like the main thing we did, and Payaziti. But Payaziti hasn't really been in Garcia's plans. But hopefully, after Sigor and Pukstas are most likely to leave this season, Pukstas probably in contention for Hajduk's best player this season. Although his second half of the season wasn't as good as the first. Silic did a very good job after Ivušić got injured. Then again, I have to question why did we even sign Ivušić, because we saw Silic and that he was good enough last season. Uh, but okay, I also have a feeling that I completely forgot about Ivušić because Silic was just. I mean, Ivušić was injured up until the last game of the season, and he wasn't even in contention until that game. So I'm just hoping that Graf, the new sporting director, can do good business this summer, because we need to get onto it immediately, because our qualifiers started immediately. I think what 9th of July is our first qualifying game.
Sounds about right. I think 14th of June. Right, 14th might be when they announce the group. 16th is when they announce the draws. I think something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
the season
obviously,
starts on the 9th.
you've brought in Bruti already,
Yeah.
who I like Bruti. Sort of. No, I see. I first saw him. So he came through at Vesterpay
Yeah.
at 16 because they got promoted to the Superliga and didn't have any money, so they played the youth team the whole season. So he's just there, 16-year-old, being forced to play first team football the whole season. And you're like, yeah, you can already see there's a lot of talent there, but he needs to grow up. And I mean, I was sort of surprised it's taken this long for him to move on from Al-Sheba, because he was already very good.
Yeah,
You know,
judging by his stats, he has looked very good, and by have Albanian scouts that have seen the move and that I've talked to, they've also said, yeah, he's good enough. Like he deserves this move. Which I mean, Rijeka was first reported to be very close to signing him, and then Hajduk under Goran Vucevic, the former sporting director, swooped in and essentially got him.
yeah, it's a deal I agree with.
Yeah, and Hajduk are also it's very close to signing Angelo Shutalo from Dinamo. They're under 19s, which I've seen him play a couple of times, but every single time I can't really point when I really remember them. It's always like, oh yeah, he's there. Yeah, I see him on the ball, but he's never done something to jump out.
I mean, I think with everything with deals like that, you always sort of look at it and think, well, if Dinamo saw something in him, would they really be letting him go?
Yeah, but he wants more playing time, which I Kovacic obviously cannot give him because the squad is talented, and but probably could have gone on a loan move to somewhere, Rudeš, probably Gorica, but he's chosen to do a permanent transfer and should likely join Hajduk, and we'll see what else Hajduk does. But Graf has already pinpointed Guillamon, Krovinovic, and Sharlia that they are free to leave, that they are on the chopping block. But interesting way to announce it officially through the club channels. Interesting way. Haven't seen that before, where the a club just says, "Guys, these guys are on sale."
I mean, it happens quite a bit in the UK, and so you get the end of the season retained lists in
Yeah, I
the
just
FL.
meant Hyanel or
Yeah,
Balkans generally.
yeah. It's I say a word I'm not usually going to describe Hajduk as, but it feels a more professional way to go about things.
Yeah, it does. It also helps because we've never been really, let known by the club on many things. It's always been hush hush.
Yeah,
But
and there also, I think it's probably fair to say, there'll be guys who are on a higher wage.
yeah,
So like Gravinovic will be at the very
and
least.
Charlia,
Yeah,
and Charlia is also on a higher wage. Guillamon definitely is on a higher wage considering his background. But oh well, we'll see because Hajduk needs to do business immediately because I don't think this squad is I mean, it's been proven that this squad isn't ready for Europe. We've seen it multiple times, especially last season. But hopefully Levi can hit some kind of form this season and escape injuries. Because if he has a similar injury season as this season, it's not going to be as good as his, let's say, last one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Sheo has, as you mentioned, for a period stepped up, and that's more than Hajduk have had in most recent seasons. Because
Yeah,
we've mentioned it quite a few times. Levi is brilliant when he plays generally, but his availability every season at some point is an issue, whether it's either through injury or just through general fitness. And he's starting to get to a point in his career where he's naturally going to be on a bit of a decline as well.
yeah,
So, I mean, I know I've said it before. I don't need that plan to just assume you may be going to get 20 games out of the fire, and let's just have a team that's going to live without him. But they're not going to do that anyway.
yes. We don't have the money.
No.
But we have offered Rebic a new contract, so let's see if he signs. But I hope he does. But I don't know how he managed his way into the official team of the season. Like, how's he done that in front of many other choices that probably deserve them more?
Because everyone knows his name.
True, but still.
Ilicic was player of the season in Slovenia. No, he wasn't. He's good, but
Yeah.
but you get the crowd pleasing vote always.
Yeah, but I would argue Ilicic deserves it more than
Yeah.
than the Rebic, who just hasn't played overall for no particular reason, just hasn't played just because he wasn't good enough to play in the league. But oh well. I think that's enough of Hajduk talk. Except if we want to, I mean, do you want to predict how far we're gonna go in Europe with the Europa League parachute, quote unquote? Because we'll most likely get knocked out either in the first or second qualifying round.
I mean, I think from a seeding perspective, if I'm having to remember rightly, because I wrote about it about 10 days ago, that you find for the first round.
For the first qualifying round, we're seeded.
Yeah, which is probably going to be enough because there are some, if we're honest, there are some diddies there.
Yeah.
If you get drawn with Illumini, then you're sorted. Um, but like you say, then once you get into the second round, then it's a bit more difficult.
Much more difficult. It's much more. It's the same exact level of opponents you would see in the Conference League playoffs.
It is. I mean, again, there will be kind of draws because Vojvodina would be one of them.
Yeah.
I would think they would beat Hajduk because they are splashing the cash this summer and making a real effort to.
Honestly, I wouldn't even count on us against Alumini, let alone Vojvodina. Honestly, we've lost to Dinamo City from Albania so last season. So we've lost to Ružomberok, who almost got relegated in the same exact season we lost to them. So
I think at some point sooner or later you actually have to end up in a group stage.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Whether it's this time round or not, I don't know. But I mean, I think the thing is, the expectation has to be that there's two sides in a group stage.
Yeah.
In terms of keeping up with the coefficient across the season. But then who's that second side that gets in? It can't really be. If it's not Hajduk, then you're talking about Rijeka or Varecin winning 3 qualifiers straight to get in, and that's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, Rijeka probably has a higher chance because they've done a good job this season getting coefficient points for themselves in the league. So I don't know if they'll be seeded in the playoffs, but obviously that depends on who makes it through, who doesn't.
I think that
I think they'll be just under the line. I think
they'll definitely be seeded in third qualifying round.
Yeah, they will in the third, but in the playoffs, I think they'll be under the line.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you have so many clubs coming in at that point and dropping out of all the competitions into the
Yeah,
Conference League playoff that you just, yeah, it's a nonsense trying to predict anything.
yeah,
But like you say, they've probably done enough with their club coefficient this season to give themselves a good chance of being seeded.
yeah. But Varaždin, just for vibes, I just want to see, like against Santa Clara, just a good match, and hopefully they can pull through this season. Because I don't think they'll sell many players. Tavares has gotten a few offers, but sadly we didn't see Bochkai this season again. Injuries, which they could have very much done a much better job this season if he was available. Mahmoud also did a good job, especially considering he fell down in in the second half of the season, and Latkovic took over. But the team is still very good.
It isn't. I mean, as an unseeded side, sort of looking at that second qualifying round, the unseeded side you would not want to draw.
No, 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 no. I mean, Santa Clara barely got past them, and they're a much better side on paper and just generally. But we'll see. Rijeka, as we said, have done good enough this season, but the problem this season was just no depth and injuries. Obviously, Teo Barisic got injured a few times after joining the club, and just overall just haven't had the depth to compete on both levels. And considering that, they did an okay job. Like Conference League, they did a good enough job.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sanchez is gone.
Yeah,
Um,
Matias Kek is coming in.
yeah, I mean, it's been very well trailed that he's coming in. It's not announced yet, so it's sort of one of those you just sat there like just get on with it, please.
Yeah, Mishkovic said last week that it's gonna be announced this week, and after Polic got announced today, I think Kek should follow probably Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
My just guesstimate.
I mean, it's a difficult one. I think Sanchez did absolutely fine. Um,
Yeah,
he did a fine job. He inherited a bit of a mess. I think it's fair
yeah,
to say. I don't think if we go back to the start of the season. One thing both of us agreed on was okay, Rijeka won last season, but they massively rode their luck, and Davidovic wasn't really that
no,
great, wasn't really the guy, and so it proved. And Sanchez is a very good manager. From what we saw last season at Olympia, and from what we saw at periods this season as well.
yeah, especially in the Conference League. I mean, against Strasbourg, that second leg was very good. Just, I mean, they Strasbourg was better, but Rijeka looked like a side deserved to play against Strasbourg.
Yeah, which is the most you can ask from them, given the
Yeah,
differences in budgets and that Strasbourg can just, can we have a player on loan, please, Chelsea?
yeah.
Yeah, we've got like 50 spare, have one.
I have one.
But yeah, I think it's I think you just sort of bear in mind, who's the best player that they brought in on the pitch has actually performed. It's probably been Adouaje, and I
Yeah.
was watching him play for the worst side in England last season. You know, so he's obviously he knows what he's doing because he can get plenty out of players,
Yeah.
but like you say, these are players who were running on fumes, and
Yeah,
for a lot of the season.
there was no depth in the squad. I mean, we saw Dominic Taki come in a few times because, they just didn't have any depth. They didn't sign anybody. But and a few injuries here and there, a suspension, one suspension for Rijeka meant changing up the whole system almost. Dantas was also amazing this season. I would say probably the best player for them.
Yeah, and it's to be seen what Cap will do,
Yeah.
because I suppose from one perspective, we have seen that appointing a manager from a long time ago can work out quite well for you this season, but
Yeah.
more often than not, it doesn't. And let's be honest, it's a while since Kek's been a club manager.
Yeah, he's been at Slovenia for how long? It's been like,
So obviously last autumn for Saar.
yeah,
It was what 2020 or 21,
yeah.
something like that. So
I
you know,
think 5 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's and it takes you time as a manager, as a coach, just to get back into that rhythm, get back
yeah,
into sort of the daily rhythm of coaching as well. Because international coaching is so it is nowadays it's a specialist
yeah,
coaching function. It's not necessarily directly comparable to club coaching, and particularly when he didn't have any dealings in recruitment and has probably only really been looking at Slovenian guys for the past few
yeah,
years.
yeah,
You know, again, if you're Rijeka's recruitment team and you're presenting with him, right? Okay, here's three players. We've looked at this. Robin Gonzalez, for example. How much has he seen of him, or how well are they able to put that together to put forward to make the informed decision that he needs to make for those players, or is he just going to be like, well, Jan Repas is free. I've seen him
yeah,
plenty. Let's bring him in.
yeah. All of a sudden, we have free Slovenian players in
Yeah,
first day of the transfer window. But we also have to consider that Fruk is, I think, at this point, 100% gonna leave. We've been saying it for the last 2 seasons. Oh yeah, this is the summer he leaves. Nope. But
no,
I this one is probably it with the World Cup. Probably gonna get a few minutes there, maybe even do something. And if he does something, then Rijeka can raise the price for a million
yeah.
or two, and finally, finally get rid of him. Just finally cash in.
There's no reason for him to be there. Sort of, as mentioned, staying here this season to ensure you were playing week in week out, to ensure
Yeah,
you're placed in the World Cup squad. You know that that's mission
fair.
one accomplished. Mission two is now make Rijeka a lot of money.
Yeah,
I think with the buyout clause, I think they need 9 million to break even. I don't think they'll have any problem in beating that.
no.
I was sort of having the chat with someone last week about him, and my guess was 15.
Yeah,
I think
I think
that,
probably lower 13, maybe with bonuses, probably
yeah,
15 or more.
yeah, it is like I say, it's how you build the deal. But if you manage to get clubs interested and a little bit of a bidding more going, you can easily
Yeah,
get 15.
yeah,
At the end of the day, you think Foot could play for Hull?
yeah, yeah. He could. I
Well,
mean,
they can afford 15 million. That's about
that
ten
yeah,
percent
that's
of the money they've just got.
that's
It's
a
actually a
hundred
drop in the
percent.
water.
That's 100%.
So all you have to do is get that sort of club interested. A Hull, Fulham. Guys who aren't necessarily playing at the top level,
Yeah,
but have a top tier bank account.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jakirovic just went like, Tony, Premier League.
Yeah, but he knows them. Why not?
Yeah,
He's got plenty out of him in the past, and we do know Hull need quality.
they need a lot of. I mean, this is a team that was,
Was it 23rd on XG
yeah, that they absolutely
difference?
embarrassed XG, but it's just that they were like by many just media journalists, social media presences, got predicted to either be relegated or be in a relegation battle at the start of the season. But Kiddush did an absolute
I will
wonder.
happily say I was not in that. I said as soon as they appoint a very good appointment, they'll do really well. So
Yeah.
it's better than my high up prediction.
Stick to English football.
Yeah,
But no,
six football I don't actually watch. Yeah,
yeah, you're actually better at the one. You're actually better at predicting where you're just like, oh sure, they'll be fine. Yakirovich, oh yeah, they'll be fine. Hajduk Garcia winning the title after 20 years. But yeah, that drought is gonna go on for 22 years at least. Even failed to magnificently drop out of the cup. What a game! I just started laughing after Rukavina scored the winner. I was just like, well, this is this is just funny to me now. Like 2 seasons ago, I probably would have broken something. Like after the last 2 seasons, I'm just like, no point in crying anymore. I'm used to it. No more tears. I can just laugh. Uh, but let's also quickly cover the mid-table of Lokomotiva. Finished fifth after being in the down end of the table for most of the season. Found some form at the end, and I mean, very strong season from Jelavic, Stojakovic, Vukovic could have done a little bit better, but it was just a strong season overall from a very young squad.
Yeah, I mean, Stojakovic just had a lot of eyes on him from a scouting perspective.
Yeah,
And like you say, I mean, as we saw throughout the season, it's a very energetic front line.
yeah,
And as much as it doesn't have it there in being clinical, a lot of the time, it does have it there in if you're preparing them from an opposition perspective, in the quality of being an absolute pain in the arse to play against,
yeah.
because you're going to get pressed, you're going to have a difficult time, you're going to be dealing with pace, and no defender likes to deal with pace,
No,
unless you're 100% confident you can win that race. As you say, sort of Vukovic, really, needs to just sort of stay there over summer and just say, Mr. Jelic, how did you score all those goals? And just take some tips, because that's really the bit of the game, his game that's missing. And I
yeah,
mean, from an international perspective, he should be getting into Vucinić's lineup, and he's not. And we know why, because compared to obviously Djukanovic, who was in this time, he's missing that extra little bit to take him forward and
yeah,
get him. Ultimately, because we know what Lokomotiva is as a club. Ultimately, you want to be the guy who's like, right, okay, and then my next move for 2 million is to Pilsen or wherever, and then my next move for 8 million is to insert top 5 league club, and that's the sort of
yeah,
planning that you want to have. But you have to smooth out those edges to have that planning.
yeah. I mean, Stojakovic, as we said, probably. Well, not probably. I would say Pajac was probably their standout player this season. Posavec, fine, no, nothing special. The only thing that comes to mind right now is that flying, just him flying in that Rijeka game at the end of the season. Just for some reason, I don't know what went through his head to go for that ball, but it did not end up well, and Aduaje got a very easy goal. But Pajac, yeah, I mean, 11 goals and assists, uh, penalty taker, free kick taker, corner kick taker, just a fantasy player's dream.
Yeah. And then obviously we have, but below them, disappointing Easter. I think we both
Yeah,
did. We both predict them for Europe. I think we did.
I think we both put him in fourth.
Yeah. So
Let me. I think.
two positions, 10 points off what we thought, and
Yeah,
even still, it doesn't feel like they were really bad. It just, I mean, they were for much of the spring,
yeah,
from a results perspective, but from a performances perspective, it didn't feel like that. At no point were they, like the Easter teams we've seen in seasons past, where they're battling out at the bottom. They've never looked like relegation fodder,
yeah.
because we saw plenty of that this season, in the east of the country. Um,
Very close, very close
yes,
to each other. Actually, in the same city.
yes, but they didn't have the clinicism again. We saw a couple of decent games from Proviac, not loads and loads really pushed himself through at the quality that you would expect someone who had been so recently playing in in Germany to have. And they kept on swapping managers as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah, yeah. They're about to bring in a new one. Uh,
Yes,
I posted it yesterday, but
Javier Cabello, is it his
yeah,
name? Is it
and there's also the ex Spain boss.
Roberto
That's
Moreno?
also, yeah, he's also in
Yeah,
contention, but I don't think they're gonna go for him. I think they're gonna
because
go
he
for,
would cost money.
yeah, he would be like when I saw his name, I'm like, he beat us in the Nations League with Spain. Excuse me. What do you mean Istra is gonna get an ex-Spain boss, an ex-Barcelona assistant manager?
That's not how you spell Alaves.
That's not Deportivo Alaves, guys. Come on, stick to the program. Like you have a deal for a reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I'm actually seeing my predictions right here. I don't have your article pulled up, but I put Istra sixth. I put Osijek fifth though.
That was. I know I would have had Osijek fairly high as well. So I'm
Yeah,
not going to
I
side with
mean,
it.
nobody could have. If somebody predicted Osijek ninth or even 10th, then Jesus Christ, congrats.
I'm going to have to get my preview up now.
But I thankfully I think we both did guess Vukovar, and I think we both also put Gorica at ninth because Gorica didn't do any business, but Tsarevic did an amazing job.
So I had Istra 5th, Osijek 6th.
Yeah, okay. Well, at least I got Istra in the right spot.
Yeah.
But everything else other than Vukovar, I did not in the lower half of the table. I mean, I only got Istra, Hajduk, and Dinamo right, and Vukovar, which is much better than last season. Last season, I got one team right.
I think, by the looks of it, I think I got Vukovar.
What?
And Rijeka, and that was it.
And that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you did put Hajduk first. So I did better, thankfully. Thankfully, after because last season, last season was just, as we said, an anomaly, which should never happen again because that was the worst title race ever. But at least it was entertaining.
Yes.
But this season, I mean, we can surely cover Gorica and Slaven. Gorica did a good job to be like close to Istra and Lokomotiva to the top five. With the squad they have. Iker Pozo stepped up, which I certainly did not expect.
Yeah, I did more than a step. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league.
In the league, yeah.
To say. And that really sort of at that bottom, at that tier of now, that's all you really need. Even if it's just for a short period. Obviously, if you talk about Slaven, they had one good player for half a season, and then he went, and then they did nothing.
Leonard Druta scored 2 goals back to back at the start. Right when Jagosic left, he's like, "Let me show Jagosic how it's done."
Yeah,
and then nothing ever again.
Yeah, but like I say, for both of those sides, really, this season was. Gorica particularly, this season was just staying clear of trouble, which they did. Therefore, it's a success. Yeah. For Slaven, I think maybe they had slightly loftier ambitions just on the back of last season, and understandably on the back of the first half of this season. But even then, it's this is where Slaven always finish.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sixth, I mean, eighth, somewhere between there, doesn't really matter.
Mostly seventh, but they've dropped out of that in the last 2-3 seasons. Which, come on, guys, just have a little bit of a better goal difference, and you'll finish above Gorica. But it was just okay, nothing special, just a few standouts here and there. That's pretty. I mean, Slaven did a really good job of introducing a few good youngsters. Krušelj, former Jadran Luka Ploče player. Jadran Luka Ploče now a second-tier side in Croatia, which I never thought I would say. I mean, it's they just did okay. Let's get to a team that did almost one of the worst seasons ever in Croatian history, Osijek. But got saved by Sopic getting sacked.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew it wouldn't be great in terms of having Rosman from the start of the season, because it was very much a job to prove that he still had it, and he proved he didn't. And seemingly he's fallen upwards because he's apparently going to be Zrinski manager. Which also probably says quite a bit about Osijek, but I'm considering that falling upwards. Yeah, I mean, obviously they had injury issues.
Yeah,
Makovic just will never be fit again.
yeah,
Um,
no, like two ACLs back to back. That's just, I mean, he just ruined them.
yeah.
That's if he ever gets, if he even gets a move to like Slaven or Gorica, like that's a good point for him.
Well, it probably is what he needs at this point, just to be completely
Yeah,
out of anyone's expectations.
yeah, like a loan move to it, like or even Ruder, like next season when he's back fit, just to have consistent playing time and just possibly if he steps up be the star
Yeah.
and just get some confidence back.
I mean, I suppose I think the thing with obviously is that it was always an execution issue in terms of how bad they were.
Yeah,
There was a point at which, in terms of underperforming XG, they were the worst side in Europe,
yeah.
which is apparently not good.
Apparently, the opposite of Hull,
Yeah,
essentially, the complete opposite.
and you can't possibly have a good season when you are underperforming your XG by 2/3 of a goal a game, which is what
Yeah,
they were doing
yeah,
at their worst. It's not surprising. It's not surprising that they turned it around from that perspective.
yeah.
I think also we can say they owe a little bit to Vukovar in that, but still, I mean, they were just. I think that's better. It was just shite.
Yeah, they were just like the only reason I have a feeling that if Sopic just I don't know why Sopic did what he did to Malenica. He just dropped Malenica when he came in, just and coincidentally that obviously didn't work out. Radotic comes in first game, Vukovar, Malenica plays, literally saves the game for Osijek multiple times, and that save at the end of the game to keep it from going from being at a draw, which that would probably gave a massive boost to morale. Just new manager Radotic has been there for quite some time now, knows the club, knows the city, comes in and immediately wins the first game. And Balenica probably the best goalkeeper of the season,
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there with Kolic.
I mean, he's always been up there.
Yeah, I mean I mean this is like the third season in a row that he's been Osijek's best player,
Yeah,
which says a lot about Osijek in the last 3 seasons.
I think the sort of issue that they had, I'm sorry, was just they couldn't defend.
No,
There's the 5-1 loss to Easter,
yeah,
and it was Previak hat trick, and he just made the same run 3 times for every
every single goal.
single goal. And if you are watching that, obviously he doesn't have any hair to pull out, fortunately. But he would have been so much at that point when you sort of see, because it was not anything fancy that was beating
Yeah,
him. It was just plain being competent, and like I say, obviously they didn't have the attack clicking at all for
no,
such a long period of the season. But again, sort of the decisions around picking players was also such a big part of that.
yeah,
Amerivich, Amerivich had a good goal scoring season. Don't get me wrong, but again, he's just sort of shifted about. Where do we need someone to pose a threat? When he came through, he was a fullback.
yeah.
And then he was really great at dribbling. Let's move him forward.
Word.
Okay, yes, he gets into more positions, but actually, are you not better playing a proper winger and having him at his more natural position
That's
where he can offer you more danger from deep compared
Yeah,
to what you do have? You sort of look at the forwards. Jakubovic only scored 3 goals this season.
yeah. Had an XG of 8. Had an XG of 8. Jesus Christ. I mean, we could just go through some of the players here. I mean, Omerovic had an XG of 5.7, scored 9. So obviously, I mean, a winger is never gonna have a high XG. But I mean, we also need to point out that Shopov hasn't played. Uh,
Yeah,
was probably the main signing, the new number 10, and just hasn't been fit
no.
or good
Which,
enough.
again, obviously we sort of mentioned they did have a decent volume of injuries,
Yeah,
but if we sort of compare to Vukovar, because obviously again we both at the start of the season said Vukovar will be relegated and it
yeah,
could be Rudez bad
yeah,
because they've come up and they're not ready, and then they were,
yeah. They
and they
weren't for
very
the
quickly got ready.
yeah for the first probably like 5 games they seemed out of it, and then they got into it.
Yeah, and it helped. Gonzalez had generally a great season,
Yeah,
and they're going to be able to make some decent money for him. Well, obviously, let's say Pulic has already moved on, but again, so he didn't have the form when he was in Hungary. He's come back and gradually, and it certainly wasn't straight away, been able to rediscover that, and they were able to be consistently effective until they started fiddling around really with the head coaching position, and
yeah.
until
For
obviously they
some
started
reason,
getting form.
yeah. They it's mainly because of Gonzalez. Because Gonzalez was not playing under Chabraya, and Chabraya just obviously preferred the Croatian lads more. But I mean, Stipic came in. I mean, considering him, he did an okay job.
Yeah,
It's and the squad just. I mean, it's not at the level obviously of Ovsijek squad. Even the ones who were fit, it's still it's still a quality above Vukovar. But Pulic pulled through. He was probably one of the best signings, like outside of the top. I mean, we can mainly just focus on Dinamo for the top signings. Probably the
yeah,
best signing if we don't count Dinamo in that, because he had an amazing season, scored against every single club, and scored how many? 19? 16,
16.
sorry.
Yeah,
16.
I think for Vukovar, they can just be happy with. Okay, yes, they're relegated, but they can be reasonable. They can be happy with their season. They were
Yeah,
expected to be relegated far more easily than they were,
yeah.
and it's not much of a success, but it's a success in terms of how we rated them.
Yeah, we also shout out to all the players that got signed and didn't play a single minute this season, because there's probably like 20 of them. I remember in the last summer I did like 20,000 tweets of Wokor has signed this guy, looking them up and be like, interesting, can't wait to see him for every single player. And I think I've seen only like 15.
Yeah,
And that was at the start of the season with Schulterfeld, where Schulterfeld literally also didn't know who to play and who to start, which thankfully in the end somewhat of a squad got resembled, and they did enough like to be competitive.
yeah, yeah,
And just let's just hope financial trouble doesn't hit the club and they have to shut down. Like Split is very close to shutting down. Šibenik has shut down.
mm.
Gönöker Šibenik has now officially been founded, so there's another club now. But yeah, next season, Rudesh, thoughts on them
Um,
quickly?
I can't say I've seen much of them in terms of how they've done this season. I think
Yeah,
it's fair to say. I obviously, sort of, they eased away at the end of the season, and it's. I mean, we are at a point now where we are sort of consistently seeing the side that comes up as the one that goes down.
yeah,
It's increasingly difficult for sides to stay in the INL, and Rudez probably have a better chance than most, purely from the perspective that obviously they've got more recent experience of it and
yeah,
retain more of a setup. I don't necessarily think they will. Obviously we'll see what they do. I think probably the next side we see come up and stay up will be Gustosia.
yeah.
Um,
It's quite obvious that they're gonna be, if not next season, then well, probably next season. I don't see who could challenge Custodia if they actually spend money they have on a few good reinforcements.
yeah, I mean, so they've already got. So obviously they've got Bellinho already, but
Yeah,
uh, Franco Andreasevic and Sudani
yeah,
both joining. So I mean, 2016-17 INL,
Yeah.
would have ripped that up. Whether
Can't
it's
can't wait to see can't wait to see Sudani in Ploče playing second tier football, about to get promoted to HNL.
yeah,
Cannot wait. That's gonna be. It's just a wild thing that we even got a license, because our stadium is so shit. If it even rains for more than 5 minutes, the rain just stands on the right side of the pitch, doesn't move. Just it's like this is the grass, 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 grass. Oh, pool. We had, like, in the last couple of seasons, every single winter we've at least had one game postponed because of it. But it's gonna be interesting how we, because there was a whole plan in Plocha for our pitch for our stadium to essentially be 90 degrees turned, so we have more space for stands, because our stadium is right next, like literally next to the road, so there's no way to extend the one stand we have, because right behind you is a road. So that's why they wanted to, but they haven't done that. So we've somehow got the license. But speaking of licensing, have you seen the news of what's happening in the third and fourth tier?
I've seen the headlines today about Dragovoljak. I've not actually read the
Yeah,
story.
essentially, Dragovolets should have been relegated. They're getting saved by the federation. So the at first, the five fourth tier winners of their leagues should have all gone up, and that's it. That's the third tier sorted for the number of clubs. Four promoted, one relegated, five promoted to the league, 16 clubs. That's it. But Pazinka from the West League in the fourth tier didn't get a license. So instead of doing the general thing, because second place Lokomotiva Rijeka got a license, instead of just saying, "Hey, Lokomotiva, you're now in the upper tier of Croatian football," no, they're forcing Lokomotiva Rijeka to play a playoff against randomly pulled the other fourth champions of the fourth tier. So randomly, one team is gonna get pulled to play Lokomotiva Rijeka in the playoff to get promoted, and Dragovoljac is just staying. Đakovo is getting relegated. From two teams relegated, Đakovo is now the only one getting relegated.
Yeah.
And one team who deservedly won could potentially not go to the third tier. Which, why?
Yeah.
You could have
Why
just
not?
had, okay, Hrvatski Dragovoljac, yeah, big name, big club previously, but they haven't been anywhere close since they got relegated.
And let's be honest, it's the third tier. Who
Yeah,
cares? From
who
from a
cares?
licensing perspective.
Yeah, and like I know Dragovoljac is a big club. It means a lot to some people in Zagreb and the local area, but guys,
Yeah.
they finished
Be
second to
fair.
last. They finished second to last. Okay, Pazinka, yeah, they didn't get a license, but be fair to Lokomotiva Rijeka, who finished second, and they did get a license. Which, oh well. I wonder what would have happened in the third tier, like for getting promoted to the second tier. Like Ploče didn't get a license, and we finished, in the top four. But
If they just sent into the HNL Google Maps but just rotated 90 degrees. This is the ground. Honestly.
this is the ground, yeah. Like very poorly photoshopped, guys. See, we actually have floodlights.
Yeah.
I love when we had to get a roof, like a small roof, when the third tier was revamped and actually started being broadcasted, and so they invented, like, every team has to at least have like a certain section of their stand like under a roof, and they just put up four pillars, metal sheet. We have a roof, guys.
Yeah.
We have a roof. we can play in the third tier, and now somehow in the second tier. But yeah, anything else to mention before we head out?
I don't think so. We've got all the international stuff next time, haven't we?
Yeah, we're gonna be off HNL duty for at least a month until Hajduk starts their very early European campaign where they are bound to disappoint yet again.
Yes.
Can't wait to in a month's time when we talk about us drawing Alumini at home at Poland.
At least, at least if you do your own, you don't have to play in their ground. They're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
in Maribor, because I
yeah.
don't know if you've ever seen their ground. It is a stand and forest.
Yeah, I think I have because I Francesco Tahir played for Alumini,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I remember because I think I saw a few highlights of him when we signed him. Shit player, but oh well. But yeah, podcast back. My account on Twitter is back. If somehow you've missed that, so if you want to follow that back, because I actually lost like 600 followers. Elon Musk just took it from me after he suspended my account, and that he brought it back and probably forgot to count all of it. But but yeah, thank you for watching, and we're looking forward to entertaining World Cup summer and hopefully next season, where we actually pull through with podcasts throughout the whole season and not just start a little bit European campaign here and there and then just fall off until the end.
yeah.
Hopefully, I could sort out my free time with uni and everything. But it was good to have you back on, and
Good to be back.
yeah, and laugh a little bit at your Hajduk prediction.
Well,
Don't make
that's what I'm here for. That's why you invited me. You had plenty of other
true.
offers. You were just like, I just want to be
Yeah,
open with this guy.
yeah.
I'm here for 1 week of
Just
being bullied, and that's it.
just don't make the same mistake next season,
Yeah.
because I couldn't bring myself to do this podcast again with you if you actually predict Hajduk again first.
Varusine to the moon.
I was about to say I would rather you say Varazin's gonna win it. Guys, Rudesh is finishing above Hajduk. I would take that. But well, thank you for watching, and we'll be back next week with a World Cup preview and focusing just on Croatia. And hopefully, we have some more news about Modric, and hopefully, we know where we're sat at with Luka and his career after this summer. So, thank you, and bye bye.
Bye bye.